right, check, check, check. We are not quite live. All right, well, now we are live. I had to mess up. Thank you, Moonlapse, for pointing out that you could see the poll, but not said that we weren't live yet because we weren't. I forgot to hit one of the key buttons here. So, yeah, welcome, one and all, for real this time. We are going to, because Cannibal Corpse just announced their new album, Chaos Horrific, and dropped their first single, we're going to revisit the Cannibal Corpse discography, and you all get to vote on what you think is the best Cannibal Corpse album of all time as of right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and put up the first poll and not waste any time here. So we've got their debut from 1990 in Eaten Back to Life, and their second album, Butchered at Birth, just a year later in 1991. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so that poll is away, and by the way, welcome everyone. Glad to see y'all here. Yo, say Kill is the gold standard. Kill is a great album, but we'll get to that one. Vile and the Bleeding. All sorts of different recommendations in here. Howdy, Doom Guy, and everyone else too. Gonna see during their upcoming... You know, I have a kind of a confession that I have never seen Cannibal Corpse live, which I feel like in my kind of YouTube space feels like sort of a sin. So maybe I should remedy that at some point, but... All right, we got 12 votes in so far. Butchered at Birth taking it pretty strong. I like both of these albums quite a bit. I kind of have a soft spot for Eaten Back to Life, but Butchered at Birth, I mean, it's a certified hood classic, right? I mean, it's kind of a death metal standard. And I was sharing before I realized I wasn't actually live that the debut is very much influenced apparently by like Altars of Madness and stuff of that ilk. What else did I say? Leprosy from Death as well. But then they were kind of going for that heavier, more intense sound. And they also consider it a like first or early death metal concept album with all the songs being centered specifically around butchery. So I think Butchered at Birth taking it though, 18 votes, 78%, gone, and that is our first win of the evening. And we can move right along to Gallery of Suicide and Tombs of the Mutilated. So let me get that poll up as well after I end this one. That would help. So yeah, and continue sharing your thoughts on these albums as I present them. So we got Tomb of the Mutilated and Gallery of Suicide. What's going on? Oh wait, this is Q&A. I don't want Q&A. Hold up. I messed this up already. We don't want that. End Q&A. I promise I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, Gallery of Suicide. I have quite the memory of like early days becoming like a full-on metalhead, being in CD shops and seeing the cover of Tomb of the Mutilated and just like staring at it and be like, bro, like, what is this? This shit is crazy. Tomb of the Mutilated, more influential. As a new fan, Tomb of the Mutilated and the Bleeding for me. We'll get to that album too. Gallery of Suicide, very good. Some people saying Gallery. I'm seeing some mixed thoughts on this one. Tomb of the Mutilated out 1992. And Gallery of Suicide out 1998. So we're jumping some albums here, but we will get to all of them before the evening is through. Tomb of the Mutilated seems to be taking it, though. 20 votes in, 75% of the vote. Going once, going twice, too. Tomb of the Mutilated. Not too surprised there. All right, so backtracking now. We've got Vile in 1996 and The Bleeding in 1994. So go ahead and get those up on the board. Kind of tough call. I feel like I'm a little bit more partial to the bleeding personally, but this is y'all, not me. So the bleeding and Vile. Vile, another one I remember staring at that album art quite a bit. And just because I think I said it, yeah, I said it before we actually went live. A lot of these artworks done by Vince Locke, who's been a long time collaborator. A lot of these albums also produced by Scott Burns. In fact, this was the last album with Scott Burns as the producer. There comes the dog on cue, busting in. First death metal album to appear on the Billboard 200 chart, too, by the way. Debuting at number 151, and that is for Vile, by the way. Just sharing some little factoids here. And also, The Bleeding is the first album to feature Rob Barrett on guitar. Looking at the chat, seeing Bleeding King, Barnes' best vocal performance. It's definitely up there. Bleeding easily for me. Sorry, Vile, you're underrated, but Bleeding all day. Those always sucked. Do a CC cover art ranking video. Yeah, I probably will. Maybe I will. It's not a bad idea just to really extend that. But yeah, it looks like The Bleeding is taking this one. 27 votes with 78% of the vote. By the way, I don't know if y'all can hear that weird hum. I don't know what that is. I think somebody's watching something. But yeah, The Bleeding taking it. Moving on to our next pick with some kind of, I'd call these two albums that are in the lower end of the discography for me personally. But yeah, we've got, let's see here. We got Bloodthirst and we have Evisceration Plague. Evisceration Plague is in 2009 and Bloodthirst in 1999. So 10 years separating these albums. But I thought I'd let these two kind of, in my opinion at least, maybe you feel differently, sort of lower tier albums go head to head. So let me go with Evisceration Plague and Bloodthirst. All right, poll is up, so have at it. What's the chat got to say right now? Early Corpse Grinder was goated. Let's see, we're still talking about the bleeding. I don't hear that humming sound. Good, because it's really annoying. Corpse Grinder's vocals in Monstrosity are goated. Can't wait for Butchered. Let's see, Bloodthirst Easy. Named my channel after it. Oh, cool. Tough one, Bloodthirst for me. Also, am I wrong in feeling like these are two kind of like lower end albums? Is that a controversial opinion? I don't know. I'll revisit all of these. I will update the tier lists. They're too big of a band to not do that. So they'll definitely be like a tentpole video for sure. While that vote is going on, not a lot of info on Bloodthirst on Wikipedia. I don't know if Evisceration Plague, all they say is Billboard number 66. In an interview with Terrorizer, Paul stated, I think working with Eric again has definitely brought things up a little for us. So yeah, Rutan doing his thing, bringing some stuff together. But yeah, just never been a huge fan of either of these. So, and it's pretty close. It looks like the vote's pretty close. 33 votes with 55% for Bloodthirst and 44% for Evisceration Plague. Now 56%. Bloodthirst mid-tier for me. I don't come back to these much. Yeah, I don't hear much like people talking about these ones either. Now we all have our opinions. They're weakest of the entire discography. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'd have to look at my tier list again. And by the way, if you haven't watched it, I do already have a previous tier list you can watch, even right after this one. I kind of like Evisceration Plague, although I don't like. I honestly, off the top of my head, I can't even remember what either of these albums exactly sound like. Like that's how kind of low tier they are for me. But again, I will re-listen to them. Let's see. Priest of Sodom, such a banger. Evisceration, my least fave. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Bloodthirst with 57% of the vote. And so now we will work through the rest of the left side. Now matching up Butchered at Birth against Tomb of the Mutilated. Now that's a tough one. I believe in my tier list, I gave the edge to Butchered. I can't even remember now. These two are very close for me, for sure. So let's. I'm just gonna shorten the names here. I'll do Butchered and Tomb, and y'all have at it. I feel like this might be a tougher vote here potentially. CC weakest album still a 7 out of 10. Yeah, they're incredibly consistent, almost to a fault. Where I'd say that like they're so consistent that there's not a lot of like super duper highs either, in addition to super duper lows. Even though I'll rank albums as S tier within their own discography, there's not like an album from them, I maybe one, that I feel like kind of rises above some of the other death metal bands out there that I think are kind of more interesting in a way. But like this is like the best meat and potatoes death metal band in a way. Kill, Violence and Imagine. I like Dead Human Collection. Tomb, oof. Tomb is my fave. It was Tomb. You gave it to Tomb. Oh, I did give it to Tomb? Okay. Yeah, Tomb of the Mutilated. First two tracks on the album, live staples. Tomb by far. A lot of people saying Tomb, and that's the way the vote's going for sure. With 72% of the votes, 29 votes. I don't think it's swinging back, so we're going to continue on. Now matching up The Bleeding with Bloodthirst. Two blood-themed albums. So yeah, The Bleeding. This one's pretty easy, I feel like. I know what I would vote by far. Like there's like no contest here. These ones are going to get knocked out pretty early. So the poll is up for that one. Let's see. Butchered is my favorite Barn CC album. Never remotely bad. For the Chaos Horrific. Yes, I'm interested to hear it, of course. New song is... I listened to the new song and I was like, see, that sounds like Cannibal Corpse, you know? Like, it's good. There's certain singles, though, that, like, blew me, like... Not, like, blew me away, like, oh, something so new, but, like, when, you know, Fire Up the Chainsaws dropped, like, that... I was listening to that all fucking year. What a great single that was. Man, good times. Good times. Let's see. Obscura is so much better. Yeah, I'm more into stuff like Obscura, Alkaloid. And then even from like earlier metal, even though I got into them later, like I'd probably pick a lot of death albums over Cannibal Corpse because they kind of switch things up and just get a little bit more interesting. But that's just me. So everyone's saying The Bleeding, no question. Yeah, 89% of the vote. Rip to the 11% of people that wanted Bloodthirst, but that album needs some love. So we're gonna give it to The Bleeding though, and finish off the left side of this with Tomb of the Mutilated versus The Bleeding. Another tough one. Both fantastic albums. And again, I'll just do Tomb versus The Bleeding. This is when you get down to these like final vote ones, it's like choosing your children. Is what I always see people say. All right, poll is up. Really like the new song. New Cannibal Corpse track is amazing. Cannibal Corpse from Kill onwards is their best era. Yeah, I'll have more to say about some of their later stuff. Yeah, Nile is great. Can't wait to do a Nile tier list. I've been holding off on it though because supposedly they've got new stuff in the works. So I don't want to drop it and then have to redo it immediately. Tomb is king. The Bleeding beats out Tomb for me. Bloodthirst, Bleeding. Both are great, but The Bleeding got me into Cannibal Corpse. You did Tomb versus The Bleeding. Did I mess it up? Yeah, that's what we're on. Tomb versus Bleeding. Right? Right? Both gotta go Tomb. You put Wretched Spawn last spot. Yeah, it's low. Nile is awesome. Yeah, Nile is very. Wow, this is a tough one. So we got 32 votes in, and it is now 50-50. We need some tie breaking here, y'all. That's pretty crazy. Oh, it's swinging towards Tomb. I think it was towards the bleeding before. I'll give this one a couple minutes while I read the chat because it's so close. I remember you did your. Oh, I read that. I think I'll go the bleeding. So I really love the production on the bleeding. Eric Rutan tier list. Yeah, dude, that guy's nuts. Uh, I mean, that's hard as fuck. Yeah, bleeding my fave. This poll is so close. Yeah, this is one of the closest we've had. Yeah, it's back to 50-50. Jeez. I think this is the longest I've seen it sit at 50-50 though. Cuz we've had some close ones, but yeah, this is pretty wild. The production for me is kind of part of it. Tomb definitely is a lot more rounded and finished, but I don't Meat Hook. Oh, Meat Hook Sodomy is such a good opener, although the bass is quiet on Butchered, sadly. Yeah, I agree. There are definitely some production differences that you could factor in, but it's tough. No, the bleeding has been knocked out. The Skeletal Domain don't win, we riot. We'll get to talking about that one. It is still 50-50 at 30. How's that possible? Okay, now it's swung. Okay, Tomb at 51% of the vote. Get your final votes in, people. Because that's the second time Tomb has taken the edge by just like a percent or two. So I'm going to say going once, going twice, can't be here all night. Sold to Tomb of the Mutilated. The bleeding is out already. Tough call, but it had to happen. Hate to see it, but that's the way the vote went. So we will move on though to the Wretched Domain and Gore Obsessed. Now moving on to the right side, or Wretched Spawn. I said the Wretched Domain. That's a different album. All right, let me get the poll up. The Wretched Spawn versus Gore Obsessed. Two more albums that I'm not like super duper in love with, but you know, they're all good. They all have their strengths. Pain, people said. This is literally how he sings across the album. Hammer Smash Face. Yeah, man. Hammer Smash Face. But there's more to this band than just Hammer Smash Face. Although that was definitely an early gateway for me. That and Ace Ventura, of course. Seeing them in that. Some facts on the Wretched Spawn. Came out 2004. Cover art again by Vincent Locke. Last studio album to feature Jack Owen. He's a founding member. Fourth album be named. One of the tracks on this album after Butchered at Birth. And then let me look at Gore Obsessed. Not a lot on here. Not a lot of info on Gore Obsessed in terms of special info. Lineup for that. Release date 2002. Lineup: Corpse Grinder, Pat O'Brien, Jack Owen, Alex Webster, and Paul Mazurkowitz. I never know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Probably not. Looking at the poll, it is 83% for the Wretched Spawn. Good luck, Gore Obsessed gang, lol. Not a big fan of these either. That's a shutout. Yeah, this one. German Spotify won't let you listen to half their albums. That's annoying. Yeah, what is that? A censorship issue? I wonder if like Australia or anyone does stuff like that. I want to see Severed Survivors. My favorite death metal album, but not a lot of people would put it that high on the list. What do you guys think? It's good. It's a good one. I find myself listening to the Wretched Spawn more. Production's way better. Songs more memorable. Cartman only has one word to say about that. Lame. Just because of frantic disembowelment. You're going with Wretched. Do love Savage Butchery. Spawn is one of their best. Okay. Alright, well, clearly, with 79% of the vote, 39 votes, it's going to the Wretched Spawn with another gnarly album cover, for sure. Alright, here's another tough one for me, though. So now we have Torture from 2012, and Kill, which is a certified hood classic for me too, 2006. Both really solid albums, I would say. I think I might know what's going to win this, but I've seen a lot of love for both, so it could be interesting. So take it away with the poll. I remember listening to Kill a lot in college. I got it used at like a record store, and I was just blasting this thing. That opening, like it's just so gnarly. Return of Rob Barrett on guitar, who played on the Bleeding and Vile. Produced by Eric Rutan. Always a plus for that. Music videos for Make Them Suffer and Death Walking Terror. Make Them Suffer, another great song. Make Them Suffer. Make Them Suffer. Billboard 200, second to chart on Billboard 200 at 170. So there's that. And then Torture in 2012. Released quite a while after that one. Billboard 38. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. And looking for anything else kind of note here. But looking at the chat, this is tough. Kill still hits hard. You want another 50-50, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. Torture, that album rules. Both some of their best. Kill still hits. Ugh, this is very tough. Infinite Misery, probably one of my favorites. Kill is my absolute favorite. Not a single bad song. Yeah, it's a pretty solid start to finish album out of all of theirs. But so is Torture, though, I would say. I think I put both of these pretty high on my tier list. Let's see. Torture was the first album I heard from them. Make Them Suffer is a great song. My backyard wrestling theme was 3 nails through the neck. Hell yeah, dude. That goes hard. Torture, but it's close. Kill is so damn heavy. And it looks like Kill's taking it. 38 votes in, 66% of the vote. I don't think it's going to swing back. So I love both of these, but it is going to Kill. And we are moving on to some of our newest albums with Red Before Black and Violence Unimagined. I feel like these are very similar albums too. Like they almost feel like part 1 and part 2. I mean, even the album art, like the same background scheme and everything, very similar color schemes overall. Like they very much feel like sister albums. So let me get that poll up. Red Before Black and Violence Unimagined. Good stuff, both of them. Pretty solid, pretty strong production. Not my favorite of their newer albums. We'll get to that. Oh man, Torture lost. Yeah, it did. Skeletal Domain, probably my second favorite. We'll get to it. Kill will kill. This is so tough. Violence Unimagined, Bloodthirst, and The Gallery are so underrated. Violence Unimagined, actually my first by them. Wow. Coming in fresh. I mean, you got to start somewhere. Well, I've got plenty of bands where I came in with a pretty late album, so no hate for that. Violence Unimagined released 2021, just 2 years ago. Murderous Rampage, solid opener on that one. I remember Inhumane Harvest is good. What were the singles? Yeah, Inhumane Harvest, Necrogenic Resurrection. I love the full cover for this too, which is definitely not YouTube safe. And then Red Before Black came out in 2017. Final album with Pat O'Brien on guitar, and then Eric Rutan officially replacing him. Red Before Black, another great title track. So good. Fun one there. Code of the Slashers and Scavenger Consuming Death were both also singles. Shedding My Human Skin. Lots of good stuff here. Again, not my favorites, but both solid, modern meat and potatoes death metal albums. I'm already starting to lose my voice. That's a problem. So I'm going to have to pick things up a little bit here. Saw Violence Unimagined for the second time last year with Dark Funeral Immolation and Black Anvil. Interesting. Violence Unimagined, one of my favorite albums of 2021. Tough one for me. Eric Rutan's the first. Yeah, Eric Rutan like is really kind of revitalizing some of the riffage, I think. Hot Take Red Before Black is my top 3. Yeah, I saw a lot of love for this album. But yeah, looking at the poll, it is going to Violence Unimagined. Okay. 87% with 38 votes. And then this one, because it's an odd one out, a Skeletal Domain automatically progresses because it was up against nothing. But it will get a matchup real soon. But I will say, Skeletal Domain is a fucking awesome album. Like, I think it is very much a standout in their discography. It's kind of the most, like, melodeathy of their albums, in a way, too. But really solid. But I'll talk more about it when we match it up again. So now let's do the Wretched Spawn versus Kill. As we keep things chugging here, I'll just put Wretched. And I'm just putting chat now. All right, poll. Wretched for the Wretched Spawn and Kill. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Violence for me, dog. I have to leave, sadly. Thanks for hanging with us, Melon's Water. Appreciate you. And by the way, again, as always, like, super chats are on. You can support me on Patreon or just watch more videos after this one. Really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Thank you for that. Hey, Mad Mike is here. You're a little late, but I'll take it. Woo, Skeletal Domain, free win. Yeah, dude, Skeletal Domain is sick. All right, Kill is so much better, but both are great. Wretched Spawn, best corpse grinder. Well, that was an easy one for me. Skeletal Domain was the first Cannibal Corpse album I bought, and actually, no, it was the second album I bought. Not the second one I listened to, but as far as buying like a hard physical copy, I bought Kill, and I bought a Skeletal Domain. I saw them the first time with Obituary, Cryptopsy, who sucked. Wow, that's unfortunate. I like some of the modern Cryptopsy stuff. The new EPs have been going really hard. Abysmal Dawn, too. Skeletal Domain reminded me of the Black Dahlia murder. Yeah, I could kind of hear that in there for sure. Kill is better, but no, not by my... Hey, we got a super chat here. Thank you so much. W for Vile, even though it lost. Thank you so much for Unleash the Bloodthirst. Really appreciate you for that. Wretch is my favorite Cannibal Corpse album, says Mad Mike. Let's see. Skeletal Domain is underappreciated. I see more and more love for Skeletal Domain, but we're not talking about Skeletal Domain right now. We'll get to it. Yeah, Matt, not very good live. Boy, that's unfortunate. Okay. So it is going to Kill, though. I'm sorry, Mad Mike, but you have been overpowered. 39 votes. Kill takes 72% of the vote and progresses on. All right, so now we can talk more about Skeletal Domain. Because we've got a Skeletal Domain versus Violence Unimagined. Again, more kind of newish versus newish. I very vividly remember buying a Skeletal Domain on a whim at like a FYE at the mall during a break from work. Because the mall was in like walking distance of where I was. Okay, so Skeletal Domain and Violence. I'm just going to put Violence because I'm lazy and tired. All right, poll is up. Let's see, where was I in the chat? Can't stand Mac Magachi's vocals at all. He's just doing slam gutturals. On the albums, not as much. I don't know, but yeah, if they don't sound good live, they don't sound good live. I've learned my best growl with Wretched. Nice. Yeah, Kill will indeed kill. Maddie Mikey lost 30 pounds in the mosh. I adore the bass on Skeletal Domain. Yeah, it does have a gnarly bass on it. Violence Unimagined because I'm nostalgia blind. Robert Sparling says Violence Unimagined again. Love that album. I also like the album prior to that, Red Before Black. He also closes does all fry vocals instead of false chord. Man, all right. Well, I guess I won't go. I guess they're a album band, not a live band these days. As good as Skeletal is, Violence Unimagined even stronger. I love Violence Unimagined, but it has no fire up the chainsaw. Indeed. Like, honestly, when I think of Cannibal Corpse, the first thing I think of is not Hammer Smashed Face. It is honestly, that line goes straight to my brain. Fire up the chainsaw. So good. Vile was my entry in 1996, so I like it a lot. Monolith and Devoured by Vermin are sick. I don't really listen to these albums often. Dude, go back to a Skeletal Domain. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Hack their fucking heads off. Hell yeah. It is a great line. Great song. Awesome. The album doesn't have the word chainsaw. It does not belong. High Velocity Impact Splatter. Yeah, is another great track of. Like, the whole album's good. Like, every song is good. I also kind of like that the songs are, like, kind of more, like, cartoonish in their gore. Because, like, honestly, I don't know. Just these days, maybe I'm lame, but just, like, as a dad, like, the really realistic gore stuff, like, kind of, like, irks me a little bit more. So I kind of like the, like, zombies and, like, you know, somebody just splattering from a building, like, on The Boys or something like that. Like, that appeals to me a little bit more than some of the other stuff. We need a Gore bracket. Yeah, maybe we'll do that at some point. Nothing face kind of mid. All right. Enough. All right, we have a Skeletal Domain. It's been swinging back, I've been noticed a little bit. I feel like a Skeletal Domain had a lot more of the vote. Also, I spelled it domain. Skeletal Domain, man. And 52% of the vote, though. We don't have an even 100% here, oddly enough. It's 52 versus 47. We're missing a percentage. But going once, going twice, a Skeletal Domain progresses, and that makes me very happy. Oh, it almost swung, but it still held. All right, so now, though, we've got a little bit more with Skeletal Domain versus Kill, which is very hard. Me personally, though, and don't let this swing your vote, but me personally, it's a Skeletal Domain. It really is. Kill is probably, like, right under that, pretty close. But they're both, like, definitely top or close to top tier albums for me, for sure. But the poll is up. After Hammer Smashed Face, the one I think of is the opening guitar on Skull Full of Maggots. That's a good one, too. I find myself screaming, I will kill you quite frequently. Hopefully not at work or at school, depending on your situation. Let's see. I like the second to last track on Vile. Can't say the title yet. You see, that's the hard thing about Cannibal Corpse, too, is there's a lot of tracks that I don't remember by name because there's a lot of similarities. Like, let's just be real about that. Love the new one. Red to Black was good. A tier. I always pick Kill. Skeletal Domain for me. Killer Become sounds like something out of a zombie movie. Ooh, this is hard. DT is still best. Skeletal Domain for me. Kill, Make Them Suffer, and Death Walking, Terror Alone, Beat It. Both are great. Yes, I agree. And it is another close one. 51% for Skeletal Domain, 49% for Kill. Very close. Again, do not let my opinion swing your vote. Vote what you feel in your heart. Which of these albums do you listen to more? Which one do you think is better start to finish, has less filler, better production, whatever metric you want to use. But yeah, we got 35 votes in. I'll give it another minute since it's so darn close. Both are great. Skeletal Domain barely. Scourge of Iron is gold. Vile Rutan is a Buffy riffs. But Mr. Corpse Grinder must have a fatal neck injury. That head pin is brutal. One of my least faves. Huh, okay. Revisit, I'm telling you. Revisit. All right, going once, going twice. Oh, wait, it swung. It swung to Kill. Oh, my God. Going once. Skeletal Domain Gang, it's your last chance. Oh, it's back to 50-50. Oh, man. Tomb and bleeding situation again. Yeah, basically. This one hasn't held quite as tight as that one did, but now it is. Now we're deadlocked again. Kill took over, but then it swung, but now we're deadlocked with 40 votes. What's the tiebreaker, y'all? What's it going to take? Both of these albums have killer singles. Both these albums pretty consistent. Pretty tight run times, too. What's the Skeletal Domain's runtime again? Yeah, they're pretty close. It's like 42 minutes and like 44 minutes. Just around there. Oh, whoa, we had a sudden push for Kill. I don't know if somebody put in a bunch of alt accounts and just voted everything for Kill, because that swung pretty quickly. That seemed a little fishy, but I'll go with it. I'll go with it. Yeah, it looks like Kill's going to take it. Going once, going twice. I suspect some strategery here, but it's going to Kill, which is a little sad for me because I was kind of hoping a Skeletal Domain would make it all the way to the end, but that's just me. I can see why Kill took it. And this is our final matchup, y'all, of the night. For all the bananas, for all the chainsaws, for all the high-velocity impact splatters. It is Kill versus Tomb of the Mutilated, which is a solid matchup. I feel good about that being the final bracket here. So the poll is up. Shouldn't be that close. Kill is legendary. Dude, a Skeletal Domain, I'm telling you, is good. Let's see. Decency Defiled is my favorite Cannibal song. Tomb Gang must rise up for the win. All hail Tomb. Tomb Gang. Tomb needs to rise up. Man, I'm surprised. All those Kill lovers suddenly dissipated in the chat, at least. I like Kill more. They don't play any songs off them. Yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. I don't know why. They should play more. It wasn't very well received, I feel like, at the time. It's been like more of a cult classic over the years. Yeah. Kill for sure. Tomb is highly influential. Kill is a better album. I personally think Kill is a better album overall. But again, it depends on how you think about it. It's another death. Man, this is the closest of all the bracket fights we've done. This is the most consistently close votes we've had. We've got another 50-50 here. We've never had 3, I think, in one video. So that's pretty impressive. So hats off to all the Cannibal Corpse fans out there repping for their albums. Keeping it real. And again, I think another testament to just how consistent this band's discography is. Like, it really is pretty wild. It's a wild situation for them. Did a cover karaoke on my YouTube. Neither of these are my favorites, but I gotta go Kill. Play one song, Kill or Become. Yeah, they have to play Kill or Become. Like, there's just no way. Up, swinging for Tomb again. Somebody coming in with those alt accounts again. I'm telling you that's what's happening. Like, I'm just being real. There's some. Oh, and it just swung 10%. How? So somebody is cheating. No cheating, y'all. No cheating. Come on. Mr. Multi. Yeah, somebody out there, big lover of Tomb, bringing in those alt. He's got like 5 tabs open right now, voting on everything. Strategery, trickery. Fooled me once, can't get fooled again, as they say. But all right, going once, going twice. The winner is Tomb of the Mutilated for the best Cannibal Corpse album of all time, according to you all and your votes. What a beautiful bracket that is. These are always a good time. Thank you all for being here. If you want more Cannibal Corpse content, again, you can go straight to my Cannibal Corpse tier list that I did whenever, what did I say that year was? 2021, I think, Violence Unimagined came out. So you can check that out and expect another update. Thank you all for being here and all of your support. Really, it means the world to me. I got plenty more videos coming for you. Keeping busy. Also, big news, I signed a contract for a new job for people who've been following that situation. I don't officially start till the end of July, so things are going to be a little financially dicey still for a little while. But honestly, the YouTube ad revenue and Patreon and stuff has been helping a lot just to bridge that gap. They're going to try to give me some part-time work in the meantime too. So things are looking up. They're looking up. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who's been supporting. But yeah, thank you all for everything, and I will catch you all in the next